Julian Vance was a man defined by his adherence to the predictable. A 42-year-old freelance data analyst, Julian maintained a life free of debt, conflict, or erratic behavior. On November 12, 2018, he checked into a quiet motel on the outskirts of Oregon, carrying only a metal briefcase and the weight of a cold winter night. He paid in cash and headed to room 402. CCTV footage from the lobby and the single-access hallway recorded his every move. At exactly 9:18 p.m., the camera captured his door closing for the final time. For the next 16 hours, that camera remained focused on the only entrance to his room. The logs show a total absence of movement. No one walked down that hallway, no one approached the door, and, most importantly, no one walked out. Julian's history as a meticulous, boring analyst provides a dataset with no outliers. He had no motive to run and no enemies to fear. This turns his disappearance into a rigid anomaly, a sequence of events where the final result cannot be reconciled with the documented facts. When Julian failed to attend a scheduled video call the next afternoon, the motel manager attempted to enter room 402. He found the deadbolt unlocked, but the door would not open. The heavy brass security chain was firmly engaged from the inside. After police forced entry, they found the room's perimeter completely intact. The single window on the fourth floor was locked from the interior, its sill covered in a thick, undisturbed layer of dust. Julian's personal belongings were left in a state of quiet suspension. His winter coat was folded neatly on a chair. His phone, keys, and wallet were placed precisely on the nightstand, next to a half-filled cup of black coffee. A physical exit from this space would have required Julian to bypass a mechanical chain and a locked window 4 stories above the ground, without leaving a single trace in the dust or appearing on the hallway camera. Every verified physical exit has been checked and ruled out. Because the room remained a sealed environment throughout the night, the case entered the police records as an unresolvable anomaly in the spatial data. Investigators turned their attention to the metal briefcase Julian had carried into the motel. Instead of the expected analytical files or a laptop, they found hundreds of perfectly blank sheets of paper, stacked with professional precision. Placed in the center of the blank stack was a single handwritten note. It contained 5 words. "They know about the echo." Digital forensics recovered a single search from Julian's phone, deleted minutes before he checked in. He had asked, "How long does a human shadow last?" This query represents a sharp break from Julian's lifelong focus on measurable, concrete data. For an analyst, investigating the lifespan of a shadow suggests he was looking for a specific type of systemic error. Julian's final messages suggest he was no longer looking at the room as a physical space, but as a point in a larger system. If the physical evidence cannot explain where he went, the answer may lie in the nature of the shadows he was researching. In the world of theoretical physics, quantum decoherence describes how a system can lose its physical properties when it interacts with its environment. It is one of the only theoretical frameworks that addresses how a coordinated physical state can simply dissolve. This projection illustrates a possibility that Julian may have been considering. It shows a higher dimensional object casting a 3-dimensional shape, a shadow, onto our own physical plane. If the connection to that higher dimensional source is interrupted, the shadow instantly evaporates. The physical body in our world simply ceases to exist, with no movement through a door or window. This theory accounts for the items Julian left behind. The heavy coat, his leather wallet, and the keys were not part of his primary biological projection. They are the secondary echoes of a presence suddenly removed from the system. Julian spent his career finding errors in complex code. It is possible that his final search was not a sign of a breakdown, but the moment he finally identified a catastrophic glitch in the mechanics of human existence. Viewed through this lens, room 402 was not a crime scene. It was a localized system failure, a specific set of coordinates where the rules of physics temporarily stopped rendering a human life. The neatly folded coat and the untouched coffee are the 3D debris of a vanished vessel. They confirm Julian's own warning: the echoes remain even when the source is gone. Standard security measures like brass chains and surveillance cameras are designed to stop three-dimensional intruders. They offer no protection against an event that occurs on a higher dimensional axis. Julian Vance didn't need to find a way out of the room. His physical presence was simply deleted by the underlying operating system of our reality. We rely on the solidity of our walls and the reliability of our locks to maintain a sense of safety. But the events in room 402 suggest that our physical presence is more fragile than we choose to believe. A locked door only protects us from threats that obey the same three-dimensional rules we do. If those rules are subject to localized glitches, our most secure rooms are actually entirely open to the universe. The disappearance of Julian Vance leaves us with a difficult proposition. If our physical presence is tied to a source we cannot see, then no amount of security can protect a life that the system chooses to end. Because once the light is cut off, the shadow has no choice but to vanish.